What is going on, guys? It's Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We'll be right back with lots to tell. Remember, nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. All right, with that out of the way, my name is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a lot to go over and a lot of stuff that people are going to go, oh my gosh. So first off, a lot of people have said that we talk about China a lot. Just to straight up tell you, there is a lot right here just today that it backs us up on what I've been saying for 3 years. I believe that we are getting ready for a conflict, and you don't have to believe me. We have sources for everything that we have here today. Again, if you've never been here before, if you're brand new, we actually back up every single story on our website. In fact, you can follow along on a second device. You can go to marfooglenews.com, and you will see that it's very easy to navigate. You'll see this thumbnail, meteor over Vermont, which, by the way, a huge meteor blew up over that, of course, with the power of 440 tons of TNT, which only says, again, we're seeing a lot more of that for some reason, but, of course, nothing's going on. And then if you click here, you'll see that it will go to a website that actually backs up every single tweet, every single video, every single article that is there. It is all backed up, a bibliography of sorts, so you can access it. You can actually access this with a second device and read along. You can retrospectively go back. If you want to support the show, on the right side, all of our affiliates are right there, including EMP Shield, which can help you protect yourself against an actual EMP, the same company that the government agencies are using, and then NordVPN, and protect yourself in the cyber realm. And then at the very bottom, there is going to be extra web-only content, the stuff that basically is too hot for TV, we're going to put there. I'm going to introduce you to my co-host today. It's News Only Tuesday, so he will not be on the phones. Dex is going to be right here, so we can actually have him with me today. Dex, what is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. Doing just fine.
I'm glad I did a sound check. I about blew my own ears out. Okay, so lots of stuff to talk about. We're also going to talk about woke or broke, some of the subjects that are being canceled right now. Maternity suits, of course, that is just, okay. And then we have, of course, there was another cancellation. Oh, Pepe Le Pew has been canceled from the next Space Jam. Apparently, LeBron is going to run for office someday. I don't know if that's a fact there, but it seems like he's shooting for that. So anyways, we'll get into all of that today and more. So let's get to it. All right, first to start off, Tesla is plugging a secret mega battery into the Texas grid. Now, why would they be doing this unless maybe they're preparing for something to possibly happen? And it's just so funny that Tesla, it just happens to be moving to Texas. It's almost like he has some foresight there. Of course, he is in the know more than most people. One, he's a billionaire, which I bet you most billionaires have a friend or two in the government or world governments or, say, the royal families. But on top of that, he is also contracted with multiple companies. Not one, at least two of his companies are contracted with the U.S. government. You've got the Boring Company doing several state and federal projects, and then you've got, of course, SpaceX doing projects for not only the U.S. government but others. And then, of course, what do their parts play? Well, first, they're going to try to get us to Mars. Of course, they're going to try to get us to the moon. They're getting all these other countries to the moon and to Mars, launching satellites. They're also launching a hypersonic sensing set of array sensors that will go with Starlink. So Starlink is going to be a grid that everybody thinks of as like, oh, it's just going to be internet. It's also going to be sensors for the new hypersonic nukes. And what I think, and they have not said this, again, remember 3 or 4 years ago, they actually brought in Elon, and Elon was talking all over the internet on several interviews, talking about how the government was coming to him, and they were talking about asteroid defense. And then it just disappeared, and they never talked about it again. Of course, now we find out that the part of the Starlink, part of his Starlink kind of system has this hypersonic technology that can basically detect incredibly fast objects up to 20,000 miles and more. And of course, a lot of stuff that is top secret. So lots of crazy things happening just this month, and it only gets better. I mean, for us, this is an exciting night because this is, we have to cover boring news. We have to cover exciting news. This is one of the better days. It says the utility scale battery located outside of Houston will connect to the same grid that faltered in February's freeze. It says that Elon Musk is getting into the Texas power market with previously unrevealed construction of a gigantic battery connected to the ailing electric grid that nearly collapsed last month. It says the move marks Tesla Inc.'s first major foray into the epicenter of U.S. energy economy. So not only is he talking, space contracts, not only is he talking about boring under the country contracts, now he is most likely going to be working with the power contracts as far as these giant batteries. So something is definitely up here. And Elon Musk is probably at the center of it. I think that, of course, if you also remember, this guy, they say that he's eccentric and he says all this random stuff. I don't think so. And I've always said that. I think, some people think he's an idiot. Some people think that he's a showboat or he's just doing it to be cool. I don't know. He says a lot of things on his Twitter that I feel like are just straight up signaling, showing a picture of an asteroid hitting Earth. And it's almost like it's like funny to them for them to put it out there and be like, ha ha ha, if they only knew. And they wouldn't tell us this. If the world had something that was coming towards it, or if they knew 100% without a doubt that it was a Greenland type situation, of course, talking about the new asteroid flick, right? They would not tell us. And if they did, they would tell us last minute, which is funny. That movie actually used the presidential alert in that, which would individually ping our phones, and they would select certain people to be saved or to go into a bunker. That's how that movie did it, right? Well, that's actually how they are practicing to do it in real life. If they needed to get to important people, now the setup with all of the cell phone carriers, which just recently had all of the governments kind of team up to try to get this emergency alert system in bay, we're talking about they are actually drilling for end of the world scenarios, and nobody even bats an eye. They're like, oh, it's just practice. What do you think about that, Dex? You've been with me for 3 years, and now it is really starting to heat up.
Well, yeah, and the interesting thing to me is that we're seeing Tesla, or at least Elon, go even further into things. So it was electric cars, maybe it was solar panels and a battery for your home, but now he's getting into the grid, right? He's actually going in and potentially doing something. And by the way, none of this has been announced. None of this is public. This is done by investigation, people researching who's doing the work, using binoculars and seeing Tesla, symbols on the hats, and then doing the research on the company that bought the land. Turns out to be a subsidiary of a company that's owned with the same address as Tesla in California at their location. So a whole lot of things that are going on, but none of this has been announced. But this gigantic battery being pumped in that can, support 20,000 homes for an entire hot summer day. That's pretty big. That's a lot of power. And, I guess the logic on that is, on one hand, there's this whole economical thing with these batteries, like the Tesla Powerwall. You can put it in your house and, fill it full of energy late at night when the power is cheap for 2 cents a kilowatt, and then burn through it all day instead of buying it for 12 or 15 cents a kilowatt from your power company. Just use it off your battery.
So
and
Dex,
buy it again cheap, right?
Does it not kind of freak you out that the fact that they multiple agencies have reached out to Tesla and they have not said a single word about this project? It says that executives from Tesla did not respond to multiple requests for comment because they are looking at this thing and they're going, why are you putting this massive battery, a backup to the Texas grid? Think about that. everybody should just think about that really hard and understand that when we tell you to prepare for these kind of things, that we are dead serious. The government is preparing for it. The military is preparing for it. The Pentagon has prepared for it. FEMA is preparing for it. So why aren't we as civilians? Well, we expect them to come save us in any big emergency. And I've said this a million times. We have people in the audience like Able Bodied. She called in with a 45-minute amazing story about what happened in Katrina. Hurricane Katrina happened. Guess what those police did? Those sheriffs and those officers, they left their posts to go save their own families. They had mothers in nursing homes with no power, on oxygen machines, on a generator that might last 2 hours, right? So they left and they went and saved their own family. What would you do if you were in that position? Would you be the hero, or would you go and try to save your family? Maybe you have small children at home. Would you say, oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to sacrifice them for the greater good? I hate to say it, but most people wouldn't. They would go and do their own thing. So don't depend on somebody else to come save you, especially if it's a power-related thing. Everything is going to go bad. The military, mind you, is drilling to have no power, to fight in the dark, also to fight with no GPS. So that would be in a scenario where not only do you have no power, but you also have no GPS, so no satellites. What kind of situation would do that? That would be something like an EMP and them taking out satellites, which we've covered. China has the technology now, and they have weaponized space, and now they've come out. DOD, Department of Defense, has said it, and we've backed it up with facts. The China Task Force has said all of this, and of course, a lot of it is going upon deaf ears. For some reason, they're just letting it happen. And again, crazy stuff. And then, speaking of everything else that I've talked about, and everybody is seeing more and more of these, the actual Fugel fam are seeing these. We're getting tons of videos. If you watch our Unidentified Fridays, we are getting videos almost every Friday of a meteor coming in. A meteor is very easy to spot. This thing doesn't look like a UFO. It has a trail, just like, something you would see up there now. But it's a lot different. It's a flaming ball in the mid of day. Some of these have been flashing. The one over Chicago, I believe, it lit up the sky like daylight. Now, you could say, oh, they've had these, once a year or this. We've had it way more. We're talking about people with Ring cameras are catching these things every day. So what is going on? Are we going through some sort of thing? Of course, some say that we are flying through an asteroid belt. What do you think? I would love to hear what you say about this in the chat. Thank you, JR, for the support. It says, at Marv, FYI news vid out today from Victoria. Tesla, big battery there too. P.S. Watch the movie 2012. So you're saying in Victoria, Australia, that Tesla has a big battery there too. That would be freaky. Australia, of course, being our ally. And then Lisa Marie, thank you so much for subscribing. If you are new to the channel, again, thank you so much. Wildflower, again, thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. And then Uper Viking says, Marf, I need to know who put the bomb in the bomb shooby dooby doobie bomb. Who put the ram in the Rama Llama ding dong? I hope I read that right. I believe I failed on the first boom, shooby, doobie, doom, boom. Just trying to be professional about this. I think I messed it up. All right, and then, of course, we had a meteor explode over Vermont with the force of 440 pounds of TNT. A meteor struck through the night sky over Vermont on Sunday, March 7th, creating a spectacular light show and causing earth-shaking booms as it burned through the atmosphere. The meteor's explosive passage through the atmosphere released the equivalent of 440 pounds of TNT. So I guess it was pounds, not tons. And then it says the equivalent of that 440 pounds, suggesting that the meteor was likely 10 pounds and 6 inches in diameter. So it was tiny. It was about the size of a basketball, and it did that kind of damage. Imagine Apophis, which is the size of a skyscraper, bigger than the Empire State Building. Imagine the kind of power that would have. Of course, Apophis, they said, oh yeah, it's probably going to hit in April 29th, 2029, and then they were like, oh yeah, we've been following it a little bit more, and oh, don't worry about that. We're not, but we're also going to start Space Force. We're going to do multiple missions on how to deflect an asteroid. We're also going to put a grid around the entire world, as far as satellites go, with hyper-fast object sensors. We're going to do, OSIRIS-REx and Bennu. Oh, and we're also going to terraform Mars, because we need to get off planet. But none of it's related to Apophis or anything. The space rock smacked into the atmosphere at about 42,000 miles. So that is incredibly fast. That's like Mach. I don't even know. I think 2,000 miles is Mach. So that's like 20 Mach or something. Mach 20. According to NASA, it appeared over the northern part of the states as a bright fireball at 5:38 p.m. Did you see it? Do you have video of it? Send us pictures or video at marfugelnews.com. Again, you can go over to play my video. You can also get the information there to how to submit a video or even audio or even pictures.
Hey, Adam, I have a chart. If you could pull up real quick. I grabbed this. It's in the screener, but it goes to the point you were making about the number of these fireballs or meteors or asteroids, whatever you want to call, that are actually coming into. So we're going to show
you proof. Okay. We're going to show you proof here.
So this is a reporting agency, and people report when they see where they see it, how many people have reported it, and they've tracked it year over year over year.
Okay, watch this. You're going to trip out here. So we always back up what we say. We're going to connect this on marfugelnews.com. You can access yourself and look at the stats. Maybe people will start believing us. I even had a couple haters that have hated me. They've been one of the multiple thumbs down people email me this week and basically say, I found out from a family member, you're right, so I'm going to stop hating. I thought that was pretty cool. By the way, no hard feelings, and I appreciate you, and you're forgiven. Okay, so Dex, can you explain what's going on here with this graph?
Yeah, so what we're seeing here is the number of events per year. So on the far left is 2006, and on the far right is the current year, but 2020 is where I would look because 2021 hasn't finished, obviously. So the colors, green would be the number of events with less than 10 reports. Orange would be the number of events with less than 25 reports. So the green is fewer people reported it, and the orange is a lot more people reported it. And of course, purple is a lot of people reported it, and then red is a significant number of people saw it, right?
So
but
every category,
these stacks, every category's gone up year over year.
Every single category. So there was 35 events with over 100 reports in 2020. So that's just in that category. There was 33 events with less than 50. So that's 50 people reporting they saw something. So they put it in that category. There was 235 incidences where there were anywhere from 1 to 10 people reporting it. And then if you look at this is very clear. This is what I've been trying to say, and now we have the data to back it up. Every single thing that I've shown you over anyone who's watching new probably doesn't know, but I think something is coming our way, and I think more stuff is coming our way. And I know this, I'm sorry, I think this because of what we've heard. And we have heard from people that I absolutely trust. So tell me where will we this is 2012, and what's really weird is look at this. It's like almost nothing before 2012. Before 2011, and then boom, 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 boom.
even if you just sort of throw off the first handful of years, even the first half of the years, you throw it away and say, okay, maybe this reporting agency, this reporting service, it took time for people to know about it and start making their reports and submitting reports. Okay, fine. But it doesn't take away from the fact that the number of reports are going up. And it's not just that 200 people had 200 reports. It's 200 people saw the same thing, right? Each report was reported similarly by X number of people. So these stats are pretty impressive and pretty obvious that things are getting, we're seeing more and more activity in the sky, and the population is seeing it.
Absolutely. And then again, it's kind of hard to argue with this in every single category going up. This one, 45, 55, 56, 63, going up 2019, 66, and then in 2020, 83. This one, 24, 28, 33, 48, 33, and then you've got 31, 29, 22, 30, 35. Those are all events with over 100 people witnessing and reporting them. So what do you think? I'm going to go over to the chat. Thank you, Mr. Cornholio. Thank you for the support tonight. And Lisa K23, what could go wrong? Miss Me V2. We've got Renegade Petey. Hey, it's nice to see you again. Thank you for being here almost every night. The truth is out there. Thank you again for being here. And thank you for being so loyal, guys. I really do appreciate it. I know Dex does. We've got Ears Up, Scooby-Doo Do Right. Of course, Global Impact is in the house. Thank you so much for showing up. The Marfia, Global Impact says. And then Bear Claws, Respiratory Jane, all sorts of really awesome people here. Over on YouTube, we have tons of awesome people. Angela Olsen. We've got High Strangeness. Dun Her. We've got James Shaw. Yes, they are. Mrs. Marf, my wife, is in the chat. We've got Maria Medlock, Melanism. We have about 5,000 people total watching right now live. Thank you so much for all coming in and hanging out and chatting. And then Marcy, hey, how are you? All Light, Kim O'Donnell, Craig Wolf. We've got Van Life Adventures. Hey, nice to see you guys. And then, of course, Brooke G, thank you. Paul. And Geographically Free, what is going on? Thank you all for showing up tonight. Team Ramrod. Okay, that's a lot. Yes, exactly. So we'll see. It's all gonna change here in the future. I think that they're all of a sudden gonna bust out something and going, oh, by the way, this. But don't worry, we have a solution for it. That's most likely what's gonna happen. They're going to have a problem, but they're not going to tell us until they have a solution. Kenneth H, hey, I think my 5th or 8th subscriber or something like that. Basketball-sized meteorites make me wonder if Michael Jordan is up there shooting a new Space Jam movie. That was bad. Maybe it was Pepe Le Pew, I guess that's his new name, throwing it down because he's pissed off he's not going to be in it. I know, bad joke, says Kenneth H. That's awesome, though. Jillen's Gems, thank you so much for your massive support of the show tonight. Uber Viking, I'm telling you, the moon is upside down. The crescent is in the wrong spot, says Uber Viking. There is definitely a whole lot of crazy, so I wouldn't be surprised by anything. All right, and then talking about yesterday's stuff, and we still have a lot. Check this out. So we have so much here. So much. Okay, but first I want to update you guys. It says Queen finally releases a statement on Prince Harry Meghan Markle interview. So if you didn't know, the whole point, and I don't really care about the whole drama thing, this and that, but what my point is that almost everything that is old, traditional, everything is getting torn apart. The royal family, if you are in Europe, obviously that is something that has been a staple of the European culture for a very long time. You don't disrespect the Queen. You don't disrespect, of course, the royal family. Now, the the Duchess of Sussex and I guess you've got Prince Harry. They went on this kind of tirade. One thing after actually watching it, though, I almost feel like, and I may be totally wrong, and you guys can correct me on this, it almost seems like they were cut off financially. They weren't protected by security, and they were like pissed off. So I almost wonder if they were like, okay, we're going to jab it in their side, and basically they want to get back on the payroll. Like, you guys better put us back on the payroll, otherwise we'll make your life hell. They probably have a lot of secrets. The royal family, I'm sure, has a ton of skeletons in their closet. I'm sure Prince Harry, out of anybody, with her as the wife there, I bet she knows some stuff. And obviously they're not above doing a tell-all with Oprah. That's a huge deal. You don't have... and then especially on the heels of Prince Andrew getting tied up with, EpiPen there, this is everything is dissolving from old traditions of every kind. The church is like, on the other hand, religion, half of them are protected, half of them aren't. Half of them are actually persecuted at the same time in the light of saying, hey, we need to protect everybody and equal rights, but not yours. It doesn't make any sense.
What's also interesting is to see that there's this infighting now within the elite, right? And
it's weird.
And it is weird because typically, those in power are sort of all in it. We presume are all in it together. They've got a grand plan, but now we're starting to see fractures in this, and we've seen it over the last few years where we've been discovering and exploring and pointing out and finding lots of things, even from the EpiPen stuff. All of that, came to light, and so there's lots of I guess natural fractures, or not natural, but they just happen on their own. But then there's these specifically big ones that are starting to happen, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, or if the elite around the world start to cave in on themselves.
And by the way, did you see what the Queen said? This is like the most polite Queen way of doing it. This is hilarious. It says, Queen Elizabeth II said in a statement Tuesday that, quote, the whole family is saddened over the allegations Prince Harry and Meghan Markle leveled on their TV sit-down, and that, quote, issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning, although recollections may vary. That is hilarious. Recollections may vary. Basically saying, that bee is lying. She misremembering. How do you take that, Dex? Recollections may vary.
Well, certainly they weren't talking about some other world alien race, were they?
I don't know. This is basically, they said that because the baby of William and the Duchess of Sussex, of course, because they were worried about what color it might come out. That was a big deal. And I bet you she's probably telling the truth. I bet you that's what they did say. And they said, well, we can't give him a title. I wonder how all of that works. This is probably the first generation with this kind of thing happening. For, how many centuries has it been, old white people? It's kind of crazy. And of course, white with a Y, because you can't spell it normal now. Says the Queen, addressing the pair's explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey that aired Sunday, said, quote, the whole family is saddened to learn the full extent of how challenging the last few years have been for Harry and Meghan. Which, by the way, so funny that Oprah is the one that is doing this in the first place. Like, how symbolic is that? And then also one thing I found out, too, is the only people that, or the person that reached out and gave them their mansion and gave them use of their security for absolutely free was Tyler Perry. Like, Medea goes to jail, or wait, that's Ernest. Medea goes to prison. No, that's Ernest too. Medea goes to summer camp. No, that's Ernest. I can't, whatever. You guys know Tyler Perry's movies. Tyler Perry goes to Halloween? No, that's Ernest too. You guys get the point. Christmas. No, that's, damn. Doesn't Tyler Perry get electrical powers and zaps the bad? No, that's Ernest. Okay. I guess I'm getting them confused. Easily confused. Either way, that's an update. Of course, now the Queen has officially come out and said basically she might be misremembering. If you guys want to protect yourself against EMP, I would highly recommend going with the same route that agencies are going with right as we speak. Of course, EMP Shield has been Keystone military tested. It will ground the signal before frying your devices. And by devices, I mean all sorts of devices. Talking about they make a device for your car. They make a device for your generator, for your home, for your RV, for your boat. There's all different devices. You can go to marfugelnews.com/EMP and, of course, protect yourself against all three phases of an EMP, including their car model, which is their most popular and can be put in and installed in about 5 minutes. So then you are not stuck if the lights go out. Again, that's marfugelnews.com/EMP. Thank you guys for supporting us. Small commission goes to us, and you guys get a huge discount. So it works for everybody.
I want to be the one bugging out in a boat. Just putting it out. Until you think about the practicalities. But yeah, there's a reason why not to. But man.
Well, you could, unless I don't think you couldn't live on nice fish, right? You couldn't live solely on fish, could you?
Yeah, I guess you got to get some greens, but maybe you could hit some islands and grab some
if
coconuts,
you had,
right?
even if you had it, well, I guess because here's another thing: people that think that they could go live out on a yacht, boats take maintenance, and any boat that is sitting in water, and I don't know if any of you own boats. I know a couple people that own smaller boats, and the longer they leave them in the water, the more work they have to do, and most of them don't know how to do it themselves, so they hire somebody to do it. If everything hit the fan and there was none of that, how would you be able to stay out on a yacht? Would you even be able to do it? But some of the nicer ones, it's like, what if you had a boat so big, and if it really hit the fan, you were out on a yacht, and you could plant, you could be out in the ocean and plant, have like a little garden on your boat, and then fish for fish, and then. I don't know. I wonder if you had a big enough.
As long as it's not gas powered. I mean, you got to have a sailboat, right? That's probably the only way it would really work.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I've always dreamt it would be so cool to own a yacht, but yeah, never gonna happen. When I was a kid, I would even like stop in on my bicycle to this yacht place that was by my mom's old apartment, and I would walk in and they would let me get on the boats and crawl around in them. Oh, that would be amazing. But of course, these elites are out on super submarines. And then we have 9 signs that chess pieces are being moved into place for a major conflict in the Middle East. So we have basically the pieces are being set all over the world. We're not just talking about China and Russia. We're talking about the Middle East. And now there is a lot of different little attacks that were not going on with the former prez that are all of a sudden even, more this, side-leaning members are basically looking at it and going, okay, wow, there is a lot of stuff going on here, especially with President B. No name available. Thank you. And says peace and respect. Dex, what do you think? What do you think about this whole thing?
Well, it's interesting because as the change in leadership happened, I sort of instantly noticed that things were starting off in the Middle East. So, in my mind, I knew of a few things, but then when this person actually went through and sort of outlined, 9 different points, a few of which have happened and a few of which are sort of gearing up, it really does make a lot of sense. And, we've talked about the military industrial complex and how, hungry they can be. So it's not surprising to see a different administration go down that path, right? Which that administration was very similar to the one that was previous that was also going down that path. Not the previous administration, but the one before. It's not surprising, but the writing's on the wall. So if you're distracted and busy, watching the royal family fall apart, or, worried about, what's going to happen to, whether or not you have to wear a mask or something, you may be distracted with these other events that are happening that can have an effect on, our citizens, our military, our, what retaliatory things may happen in our country. All sorts of events can actually continue to expand off of this. It's not just, something's on a foreign land, right?
Well, and this is a good point, Dex, if you can help me remember some of the stuff we've covered recently with the Middle East, of course, the big one being that we took out Soleimani over a year ago. The old president took out Soleimani, which was, this is what the president said at the time, said that we got intel that Soleimani in the I country ran to the store, that they were planning such a huge event, something that made September of 2001 look like chicken feed. We needed to take him out. Now, whether you believe him or not, I would think that it's probably in the back of your head that, hey, he might have been telling the truth there because, it was the president. So either there's something there, some operation, or he was telling the truth. It could have gone either way, right? They could have taken him out just for good reason, whatever. Secret operation. But they also tried to take out his second-hand man. The second-hand person in command that was also planning this huge event that made September of 2001 look like chicken feed. They took Soleimani. They missed their attack on the second-hand command, so he's still there. Not to mention, what have we covered in just the last couple weeks? As far as we've got sleeper cells going on, 1 in every 100 over that one batch of people. They said about 1 in every 100 was a sleeper cell. And then, of course, they claimed, what did they claim the other day? They claimed that they had something in D.C. Do you remember that,
That's
Dex?
right. That's right. They did claim that they have cells in D.C. And so, this is interesting because if you rewind before the administration change, we had, outside of the Soleimani thing, we had, withdrawal of troops, right? We were pulling out. We had minimized a lot of things. I mean, we were even talking about, hey, the number of NGs in one major city in America was larger than what we had in lots of those what used to be hot zones, right? We don't have nearly as many people there. But as soon as the administration changes, that literally the day after, we're rolling in huge convoys, right?
Again, it said on Thursday that we rolled a giant U.S. military convoy into northeastern. Yeah, I'll show you on screen. Keep going, Dex.
Well, yeah, and then then we started to see the retaliatory things, like we would see a rocket attack, right? And maybe the first one didn't really hurt anybody, but it seemed like it was targeted towards us. Then we saw another one that did, and it did hurt somebody. I think the person had a heart attack, so it wasn't direct, but it was indirect, right? And then we started doing our own. So it's like all of a sudden, and we don't know, right? We don't know for sure that the enemy, if you want to call it that, is the one firing the attacks, or if it's somebody else orchestrating it. But what we do know is then we turn around and we go in and we start launching things. And we saw JB do his own launch in there. And we even heard that the VP at the time was kind of upset because she had no clue that it was going on. It's interesting that she would be upset. But so we've got all of these actions that have happened in just 35, 40 days, of a switchover. So the writing's kind of on the wall that things are going to be getting amped up. And by the way, it's not just, like I said, it's not just what's happening on foreign soil. It's like, okay, well, that's over there and it affects our own troops, but there is fallout to this. There's worldwide fallout because the people who back up our adversaries there are, Russia and China, right? The people that are sleeping in our country are part of our adversaries, and they're here and they could do something, right? So there's a lot of things hinged on this, and we need to pay attention. I really do believe it's important. It was important many years ago when we were paying attention to it. It sort of calmed down a little bit, and now it's back again.
So remember to share this episode specifically out to family and friends. Again, I believe that soon we will need to be in the place where we all need to prepare for anything, and I mean absolutely anything. And this, it's stupid that we even have to say this. It's not to it's not to alarm anyone. It's to I guess, get you on your toes because, right now in 2021, we need to be on our toes more than any year ever in history. Look at what CV did, everything else. There are people that are going to take advantage of the current situations. There are people that actually took advantage, and that's why we're in this situation. So trust your gut. I'll say that. Don't trust anybody. Trust yourself. Trust about how you feel about the things around you. Lisa K23 says, good Queen voice, LOL. I thought so too, actually. Friend of Bacon says, all Fugels, welcome on my bug out boat. Friend of Bacon, you are now a friend of Marf. Let me come on the boat. Renegade PD, Global Impact, Life is Better on Stilts. Thank you. Bear Claws, I appreciate you guys. No name available again. Thank you. And then, what do you think? Let's see here. Enjoy each day. Tomorrow is negotiable, says Maui Racing Realtor. Again, thank you, Maui, for sending me the hand carved wood Hawaiian Islands. I think those are so cool. Shastina, all light. Vango 54 says Duck Hawk. We've got Russ Lewis, Ben Vesson. Pigs don't swim. Actually, there's actually an island where they do swim. Just saying. I'm trying to be I'm not trying to be one of those people like, oh, it's not capitalized. But actually, pigs wasn't capitalized, and that was the beginning. Anyways, you get my point. There's this very small island, and they're specific. The tourists swim with the. Anyways,
Pig Swim Island. It's in the Bahamas.
Yes,
you can swim with pigs.
Thank you. But they don't fly. Right, they don't fly. They don't fly. Okay, and then we've got China has 1 million people behind propaganda machine to undermine the U.S. What? No way. China wants to undermine U.S.? This is insanity. What are these? Is this sarcasm? Are they having a sarcasm here? During a Tuesday hearing before the Senate Armed Services Committee, U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, or Indo-PACOM, which sounds like a really cool arcade game, Commander Admiral Philip Davidson said, quote, China has a vast disinformation machine with 1 million people behind it that it uses to undermine the U.S. It says, responding to questions by Senator Jian Shaheen, I think I said that right, about the threat Chinese disinformation presents in the Indo-Pacific region, Davidson said. And it says that they use regular media and social media and have nearly 1 million people in their propaganda machine. It's kind of like how Twitter and Facebook have like 1 billion or 7 billion or however many people are on their machine.
Yeah, no, actually, to put it in perspective, because this is what I was thinking about. As soon as you said that, I was actually running the numbers here. I think Facebook originally came out and said they had 38,000, which is a huge number for their trust and safety or whatever team that's basically moderating what we all say. So some may call it censorship or whatever, right? That's huge. 30-something thousand people, right? And to put it in perspective, like Google has 135,000 employees. Okay, these are the largest companies in the world. Facebook has 52,000 employees. Like Oracle has 100,000+ employees. This country has one. This other country we're talking about here, China, has one. They're claiming has 1 million people organized to do this specific thing, and that's a huge organization. That takes a lot of power. That takes a lot of organizing, a lot of management. You don't just to be able to put 1 million people together around information, or specifically disinformation, and how to roll that type of campaign out to pick something and then turn on something and create information about it, or all of a sudden make something popular in our own culture over here that's really disinfo, right? That's a huge number. So 1 million is huge.
We're talking about, Facebook with 38,000 people, able to tweak things. That's not even half of 100,000. Then you go to 1 million. You're talking about, you've got 20 times the amount of people basically controlling social media, 1 million employees, people that are tweaking everything on social media. That's giant. That is, I mean, you think we're bad too, and they're hiring more. I guarantee you're going to see an article in the next month that says, "Oh, this event happened," or a guy and a girl did a live stream and something happened, and they bang, and we hired 10,000 more trust and safety people to watch the videos live, which is funny because speaking of which, we're talking about this, and people said that it started buffering. What do you know? But you guys get what I'm saying. This is.
Yeah. I mean, just here, I'll put it in perspective. You could create, if you wanted to, a piece of content that was misinfo, right? And with 1 million people, you could have them all go watch it. I don't know, 10 times, 20 times, and you'd have 20 million views. That would be instant virality, worldwide virality, right?
That's insane. That's actually crazy to think about.
In minutes, like you could do that in an hour or two. That's huge.
It would immediately, really if the algorithm worked that way, I mean, some do, you would immediately get it to trending. You would immediately put it in front of millions more eyes, because then those platforms would then put that at the very top. They
and then how many of those
whatever messages?
How many of those million people are part of journalism, right? And then all of a sudden, 50 articles come out across every,
imitation,
global newspapers with the same information, right?
Jordan Peterson, I saw a part, and I'm not too familiar with Jordan Peterson. Do you know who Jordan Peterson is? Dex?
Oh no, I do not.
It's okay.
Sorry.
If you don't. I didn't know either. He did a Dutch interview, and again, he was talking about it. I've seen his American interviews, and I never saw one like the one he did in, speaking with Dutch media. And he was talking about the U.S. and the problems. And first I thought that he was like very far one direction, and then I realized apparently he was talking like he was more center. But he said that the data shows, that we're not actually that polarized. It's that media is copying each other. It's just, I don't even think they're copying each other. I think they're using the same script that's getting passed down. And we've seen the evidence of, and I believe it is evidence, when you have 1,000 channels and people put these compilations where they're saying not like a similar sentence, like, you're covering a tree falling. They go, "Oh, this tree fell over in the woods." But they're covering it so specifically, like it was a winter day and it was cold, it was frosty, frigid, and a tree fell on the ground, and you have 1,000 news channels, different news channels saying that exact same line. It's like, how the heck do you have that? It's just incredible to me that people don't see that everything it's constantly flushing your brain, and in the back of your head sometimes it makes you think something else just because it's been flushed so many times in your head. I personally know people that I think are getting brainwashed and they don't even know it.
Well, it's a shame, because I have a feeling I know how it's happening at the smaller level. You've got all these local stations, and they've been fighting with cable and everything over the years, that they're trying to survive, right? So they cut corners, and the easiest way for them to cut corners is to not have writers. So then they rely on a central writing organization, whether it be AP or someone else, right? So then they don't have to worry about it, because they just have to have a pretty face on TV that can read a script really well. We'll just take the content, pump it in, and give it to them. But what in reality that mentality has turned is now all of a sudden everything is centralized, almost like it's centralized with the government. But it's centralized, and that centralization is the one that's now in charge of the entire mass media. So therefore, there is no original journalism. It's rare now to find that.
Yeah, he also said that the journalists are afraid of going against everything because of cancel culture too. So people are not covering. People aren't. And because of the internet and because of people like me, that he said that basically people like me have played a part in it. People on YouTube and people are getting their information. Yes. The level of professionalism goes down because you've got a bunch of Joes in their basement basically giving better news than some of the 3-letter agencies, right? And I'm not talking about CIA. I'm talking about the other C that ends with two N's. So you've got those agencies that are losing budget because, and he put it in a great way, because think about it. They are competing with so many more now, because now people's eyes are not just focused on the TV at those 5, 6, 7 channels. They're diversified over thousands of people, and somebody on YouTube could grab them and take them. That's, again, why I think that a lot of us are being taken out, because we're hurting them in the pocket. That's a fact. They know that this is the next generation. That's why they moved all their stuff over here. But they moved their stuff over here, and just like when you see these kids shows that are doing more successful than any advertising campaign just by playing with a certain toy, all of a sudden you see these big companies like Mattel. I see my daughter watching, and they actually hire kids to play with dolls as an ad for a huge product like LOL. And they'll have two girls like trying to make an unprofessional video, and it doesn't work. They're literally trying to copy the YouTubers because they're like, oh, people want this instead of that. So these mainline news agencies are not getting the budget. They've got to move on faster. They can't sit. See, the thing is journalists used to sit and they could go, okay, we have a story for you. You have 3 months. We need you to do all the research you can. Now they're like, okay, you have 1 day, and then we've got to move on because this story will be over. We've got 75,000 people covering it. Do you guys get what I'm saying? And also the level of professionalism. I would consider myself somewhat professional compared to some, but I am still a guy on a laptop. You know, I'm still a guy on a computer in my basement. I'm not a news agency, right? We're trying to be, but we're not there. And we're taking 50,000 people. They don't watch other people's news because they're coming to us. Think about that. Just me and Dex take 50,000 people away from the regular news, or most news, right? That's nuts. Think about that, Dex. The 50,000 people, average daily viewers that watch us, they're usually not watching, 10 hours of other news because they're here for 2 hours. That's weird.
Woke up.
Yeah. Woke or broke, which, by the way, we're going to start woke or broke. It's anytime cancel culture. By the way, if you have an instance of cancel culture, tweet either myself or Dex. Follow Dex at what is it, at DexJ? Is it DexJ, Dex?
Oh, I'm sorry. My audio cut out. What was the question?
At what's your Twitter handle? I'm trying to... At DexJ.
The real DexJ.
Okay. At the real DexJ.
The real Dex James. Sorry.
That's what I said. At the real DexJ.
Oh, James.
Oh, okay. At the real Dex James. So make sure to send us one of those or tweet me. Again, we want to bring out all of these cancel culture things and talk about them on a regular basis and have you guys vote on them, woke or broke. Like Carano, Mr. Potato Head. There's a million of them now. But let's stay on this for a minute because we have another one we'll be talking about today. How the U.S. military is preparing for a conflict with China. It says Admiral James Stavridis was the 16th Supreme Allied Commander of NATO and the 12th Dean of Fletcher School of Law, Diplomacy and Tufts University. He spent the bulk of his time or his operational career in the Pacific and is the author of 2034, a novel of the next world conflict. It says the Atlantic Council's publication of the Longer Telegram, which lays out a sweeping blueprint for a U.S. strategy to face China, provides significant clues about a new laydown of American forces around East Asia. It says whether the new Xi administration fully embraces the paper's aggressive stance remains to be seen, but elements are under serious consideration. Certainly, the new team at the National Security Council, led by highly respected Asia hand Kurt Campbell and a deep bunch of Asia experts, will be looking at a wide variety of options for the military component of a new overall strategic posture. One of the key elements in the military component is a series of, quote, red lines to which the U.S. would respond militarily. It says these include any nuclear, chemical, or biological weapons action by China against the U.S. or its allies, or by NK, any Chinese military against Taiwan, which they obviously are preparing for. They've even replicated the entire, basically their Washington, D.C. They've replicated Taiwan's Washington, D.C., can't say the cap, right? And they're drilling on how to take it. So that would be one situation, including the economic blockade or major cyber attack against Taiwanese public infrastructure and institutions. Any Chinese attack against Japanese forces in their defense of Japanese sovereignty over the Senkaku Islands, which again, China claims as the Diaoyu, and their surrounding exclusive economic zone in the East China Sea. So we've got, of course, the Spratly Islands. Any major Chinese hostile action in the South China Sea to further reclaim and militarize islands, or to deploy force against the claimant states and prevent full freedom of navigation operations by the U.S. and allied maritime forces. So basically, in any situation, that's when they're looking at this. And basically now, China, in more than ever, is gearing up for this. And we'll show you why here in a second. Again, there's so much evidence that they are moving everything around the world. They're moving forces all around the coastlines. Right now, as we speak, we have so many military in our inbox right now saying that we're moving this here, we're moving that here. It's part of a drill, it's an exercise, but yet we are basically lining our coastlines. We're lining up Alaska. We have factual... we have movement of these artillery over in Alaska, long-range artillery. You've got all sorts of things getting moved around. Why? Plumber Bill says, much love, Fugle fam. Thank you so much, Plumber Bill, for the Ninja Genie. Thank you so much. Hen Zero, Hero Zero, Hero Zero. Thank you so much. Fairy Spirit 2112. Groovy Grandma, Life is Better on Stilts. Thank you. Says, you're so tall, you could eat the clouds. Dream show, please, says Groovy Grandma. Coming soon, I promise. Lisa K, Global Impact, and Bad Wolf Gigi. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Plumber Bill, big shout out to you. What do you guys think about this? As far as what do you think of, as far as everything that's going on under the current admin? Do you think that it's not going to happen because they are, rumored to be close with them? Or do you think it's the opposite, that he's there to kind of set it up for an easy lose on our part? What do you think, Dex? And I'm about to get into this. China's military must spend more to meet U.S. war.
Exactly. And, there is a new, I won't say new, but there is a large superpower on the block that wants to be the only and largest superpower on the block. And, we either have to figure out what we're going to do with that, or we're just going to kowtow to it. And I don't think that we'll do the latter. It just doesn't make sense, historically speaking. But the two things that caught my eye here, one is that if these red lines that are outlined, it's like, anything from NK would require military response. And I don't think it necessarily means at just NK. It's also going to be China, because they obviously support and are very strong allies with NK. And I don't think, some could even say that they control the strings there for the most part, right? So that would be an interesting one to see if something happened with NK that then in turn caused us to go in to both NK and China. And then the other one was Taiwan that you brought up. And, but the thing about that is we've seen HK go down, right? And now we see China's got their eyes set on Taiwan, and then the mention of Japan. So let's, we've covered these articles before. We've covered these pontificators before that say, hey, China's going to go into Taiwan in the next 5 years, right? Or less. if that's the case and that happens, what's going to, and I think that was the exact headline. I remember that headline because I thought it was interesting that it was that by the end of the term of the current administration, that's 5 years from now. So let's just say that happens. What is their next site? Well, their next site is going to be Japan. It's the next island, right? It's the next large power, that and SK or, South K. So I look at this and I think, yeah, these red lines have got to be pretty strong. And if any of them start to fall, then we're not doing our part for our allies.
So, and obviously there's some countries that are yelling louder than others. One thing I look at when I look at this picture, these guys are, just this picture alone is like, these guys are passionate. This is going, I mean, if we do go head to head with China, and some say it's a when, not an if, this is no joke. Like these guys train hard. We've trained with them. I've talked to American soldiers that trained with Chinese. They're very dedicated, and especially the military. The Chinese that go into the military, when they go into something, they go into it hardcore. These guys would not be fun to fight. Very tough cookies, you could say. And what it says here is that China is, of course, trying to increase their spending. They want to spend as much as the U.S. does, and the U.S. had the top budget. Well, now they're trying to match that. And then, of course, you've got Guam, the foundation of any U.S. military strategy on China. It says U.S. Indo-Pacific Commando Supremo Admiral Philip Davidson, again, wittingly and unwittingly fortified deterrence in the Western Pacific this week. Fortified deterrence in the Western Pacific this week. Admiral Davidson told a webinar at the American Enterprise Institute that augmenting Guam's defenses is his top priority. So they're putting defenses there right now. Guam is absolutely critical in maintaining deterrence and stability in the region, he declared. It is our most critical operating location west of the international date line. Funding for the air and missile defense of Guam is my number one priority. Most importantly, because Guam is U.S. homeland. It says, the last part is the key part. China hands, you're truly included, tend to put the accent on Guam's military value when discussing how the island fits into the U.S. maritime strategy into the Pacific. It is a strategic outpost, the westernmost in a series of U.S. island stepping stones that connects the U.S. West Coast and the Panama Canal to East Asia. It says, so it is invaluable from a logical standpoint, logistical, in fact, transferring anything from there to there, we need that area. It plays a host to powerful U.S. military forces, including Anderson Air Force Base and Marine Corps Base Camp Blaine, not to mention Naval Base Guam, home to Submarine Squadron 15 and submarine tender USS Frank Cable. It sits around the midpoint of the second island chain that roughly parallels the Asian continental shoreline and bounds China's maritime ambitions. So it is a huge area, and they're putting all of their forces there, and they're fortifying it right now as we speak. That's their top priority right now. That should say a lot. And then Mr. B says military will focus on making maternity flight suits. So after all of this, this is what he's talking about. Dex, I'm worried.
Yeah. I mean, China is all about how much bigger, stronger, powerful can we be? And, then we look at this on our side of the fence. And
we're worried about Pepe Le Pew and getting pregnant women going Mach 2. I guess where's the okay. President JB started Monday that under his administration's the top priorities of the U.S. military will be tailoring uniforms and body armor so that it fits female soldiers better, as well as changing hairstyle requirements and issuing something called maternity flight suits. Now, some actually thought that he might have been, doing this one of his flubbers. Maternity flight. Maybe, what else is there? Maternity leave? Maternity...
It was pretty clear. He unless he just mixed words, but he said maternity flight suits.
Are these like are they putting like are they going to be like squirrel suits or something like like, oh well, they can't fly because of the air pressure, so we'll just at about 10,000 we'll let them go with the squirrel suit and let them. I don't get it. I get it that they're tailoring it. And, of course, there's nothing bad about this, right? But meanwhile, we have the China task force saying that we need to move right now or otherwise we're going to lose our country. And this is what they're focused on.
I totally get it. If women in the armed services and if they're pregnant, having uniforms that can fit them, it's not it should be a no-brainer. Like, tell the manufacturer to go figure it out and make it so, right? Literally, pun intended. So,
but why would but by the way,
this is the top priority. This is what you put on stage. Like, this is the number one priority of our military.
Well, he's barely spoken, and Harris has gone all over the world, and Harris has done more face-to-face leader meetings than our actual prez, and so is his wife. Oddly enough, JB's wife has actually met more people than he has recently, or at least publicly spoken more. And when he does come out and speak, he speaks about this, which, again, Dex and I both agree that's a good thing to have. Stuff that fits, especially any women or men in, But I would think if you are getting to that point where you need different size stuff, then maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should be on maternity leave. They do have that. You get, what is it called?
It totally depends on your role, right? If you're jumping out of an airplane in a parachute every day,
but armor,
one thing. Or if you're doing, like you said, Mach 6 or heavy G-force turns, I don't know that your doctor would even tell you that's a good idea if you're pregnant. They tell you not to ride a roller coaster when you're pregnant, or So
we could have.
I'm not going to judge.
It would be Mavrina, and Top
right.
Bun in the oven.
Exactly. Well, I'm not going to judge. I'm not a woman, never claimed to be, and not going to play that role. But I will say that,
Well, there was that one time, Dex.
Yeah. The Dextran.
That's God.
I've taken it too far. All right, sorry. But yeah, this is not the top priority. Let's move on from this conversation now, Adam.
Well, I was just thinking in the same. By the way, in the same thing, I said, how long is it going to take? In the article that I sent you, it said pregnant airmen, AIRMEN, and I said getting maternity suits, right? And I said, how long do you think it will be? And I will put a date on it right today, 3/9/21. How long do you think it will be before they call them air people or air persons? I even said we should start a hashtag like, we are air people. And I bet you they're so sensitive, the Twitter verse out there. You tweet like, why do they still call them airmen when there's women pilots? I bet you in 15 minutes there would be like 5 agencies like, you are right. It's a word.
Well, the IWOAW, the Institute for Women of Aviation Worldwide, has come out and said they want to replace airmen with a neutral term.
Okay. Well, then we don't need my timestamp. They already did it. And then, of course, Pepe Le Pew scene cut from Warner Bros. Space Jam sequel. Iconic Looney Tunes cartoon Pepe Le Pew has been axed from the upcoming Warner Bros. Theatrical sequel, Space Jam: A New Legacy, starring LeBron James. It says a scene in which the cartoon character Pepe Le Pew hits on a woman, gets a drink thrown on him, and has a restraining order filed against him, has been cut from the Space Jam sequel. So they actually did a restraining order and stuff. They made a joke out of what he used to act like and put it in the movie. It was funny because all of us older people knew that joke. The next generation are like, oh my gosh, it adds to this culture and that. It was a cartoon that's a classic. You can't just delete history. How do you know where you came from if you delete history? I don't understand how you just cancel it.
Well, and the whole character, like, go back. I'm just thinking back as a kid watching this character. In animation and in cartoons, you take everything and you exaggerate them so much, right? That's part of the humor in it. So here's a French skunk. Like, nobody wants to smell a skunk, but he's French. And, the French were lovers, right? So you would expect him to walk around and go, mwah, 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 right? Which is what his character did. It was so outlandish. But yeah, now we have to cancel
no. If you think about it, look at Elmira. Elmira would choke animals, would squeeze them basically there was a lot, like they made references to Lenny from Of Mice and Men. There were so many cartoon references. Yes, there was a lot that were borderline, right? But that's part of history. It's like, that's one thing I don't understand is it's like, do you not want generations to know what previous generations went through? How do you learn a lesson and how do you move forward? Obviously, we're not in that same space. You should be able to access that older stuff so you can see where we came from. Otherwise, you are bound to repeat yourself. It's like they don't want you to see your past because they want it to repeat. How are you going to learn from your mistakes if you don't see the mistakes? I don't understand it. It confuses me. Louisiana Skywatch, I have been seeing some crazy clouds, y'all. Need to filter your pics. Much love, Fugle fam. Louisiana Skywatch, I saw the craziest pink sky just before the show. It was all the way around rainbow. If you were in Washington and saw that, let me know. Just me Isatatu. I think I said that wrong, but I hope I did. I hope I didn't. China has at least every other harbor from Australia, NZ, Africa, I believe California for 99 years, and probably a lot of others. Yes, just me. You are absolutely correct. California included. And then Gone Girl 777 comes in hot. Says, much love, Adam Dex Mods and Fugle fam. I woke up and saw Marv posted. I love you all. Well, Gone Girl, I hope you're doing well if you're in the woods or wherever you are. Thank you so much for your massive support. And then, of course, Sparky's Run says, George Washington said, the best defense is a good offense. Peace, Fugle fam. Sparky's Run, thank you so much. And then Kara Fusler says, I just got here, but I've been watching 3 ways, TV and 2 browser. Volume down on 2. Everything helps, LOL. Kara, I appreciate you. Yinzer Prepper, get a mag ready. Life will be easier after the fall in numbers and trusted friends. Yeah, it's hard to find trusted friends. Everybody has gone crazy now. Dex, on top of that, we have a whole line of stuff coming up. Again, do you want to tell? I mean, we've got a lot of things in the works right now. Do you have anything else to say about kind of what's going on or the web-only content?
Well, yeah, the web-only content. So if you guys haven't seen the web-only content, you should go there. Like every time we do a show, when the show's over or you're done watching the replay, the link is right there in the description. It's one of the first links. Just click it. It'll take you directly to the web page. You don't have to worry about finding the thumbnail like Adam shows you at the beginning. Just click that link, go there. But the thing is, we put more content there. So there's a whole lot of other stuff that we couldn't cover here. And it's pretty good stuff. We take the time to curate it. It's a lot of other subjects that sometimes are too sensitive here. or we don't have time to cover. So if you're looking for more news, if you're looking for more insight and information as to what's going on, we take the time to pick out what we think is the most important, some of the most important things, and bring that to the surface. And it's right there on every show's webpage. There is the web-only content. And just go check it out. It's real simple. Go to marfugelnews.com, click on the thumbnail. You'll see it. Every day's got it. Or right here, if you're watching on YouTube, right in the description. Click that
and
first
then
link.
If you want to help support, of course, if you want to help support Dex and I, you can also, if you are already shopping with Amazon, you can use our link over here or find any of the products that we affiliate with. Again, this Amazon link, if you are already using it, which a lot of people are since CV started, it doesn't cost you anything extra. And instead of whatever third-party company you've been going through, it will end up giving us the commission instead of whatever third party. So again, if you can, try to use our link. That would help us greatly. And then, of course, if you want to donate in any way, up above is PayPal, all of that kind of fun stuff. And if you do end up doing that, we will read your message out on the next episode. Thank you all for supporting us. We are truly independent. We do not have a multi-channel network. I started this basically doing videos out of my car, and now we're trying to grow and we're trying to expand and bring more people on. So that is one of our main goals. So thank you, everybody that have been there. Brent, thank you for going over to PayPal last night. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And then all of you are just absolutely amazing. Dex, who are the top 3 over on DLive? Do you know?
Certainly. So number 1 is a Plumber Bill. And number 2 is Ever Dazed. And number 3 would be Global Impact.
Ah, amazing. All new folks over there on the list. So thank you so much. Dex, it is now officially time for the shoutro. Thank you, my brother. And thank you for all the help and being my lovely co-host today.
Great show, brother.
All right, guys. Today is News Only Tuesday, so you know what to do. It's shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. There's no echo. My echo is totally gone now. Fine.
Global impact, I thank you. I appreciate all of your love. Global impact, global impact. 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 Ben Yassin, long while ago, about it, garden, global impact. With the high strangeness and the low will, everybody's out there, everybody wanna feel some sort of way, mama a threat. All these juicy 420s, and the chuff on, and that RJ. Everybody wanna go get their tampon. And sharp penny, piss penny. Everybody wanna get on that penny. Oh, now everything's getting harder. Everything's getting just a little colder. Out here where they all getting bothered. Oh, now they all getting triggered. The toys and the bigger ones on the way. Everybody wanna say like a new day. Oh, now on the bow on the key leg. Oh, bring it down, bound on the G leg. Oh. Big shout out to Plumber Bill. Thank you so much for being the top supporter tonight. Ever Dazed, another time on the leaderboard. In fact, you were just on the leaderboard last night. Thank you. Freddie Bacon, Hero Zero, Mr. Cornholio, 44, Copper Tropicals. I'm sorry I missed your spot there. I don't know if you stuck around, but thank you. If you haven't checked out Copper Tropicals, go ahead and do so. It's a backup for Dutch Sense. Copper Tropicals is a good route. I saw Gabby Hansen from afar. I got sassy out in a car, and a Charlie 64. Bring it down now for more. Joe Adams on the side, and a Kathy pie. I die and now I die. With the apple top alive. Yes, son. And now Sparky's run. Ima, put down, get it down from the Ima. On a big bar. I gotta go down with the hero door. And the her off and the bacon mockey lady. Oh, now, proper clothes on the lately. Hey, Lisa K on the Lisa Lady. Jimmy on the Jimmy, Mr. Lively. 17 hot with the Everglade. Hey, from her bill and the Everway. Is a Mr. Chill Pill. Somerville 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 is a Mr. Chill Pill. Hero is my zero and nothing to pick it. I got it ran out back a running now and now we make it. I got a cake baking doing the moxie lady. I gotta do everything enough for gonna pay me and every day's ever fades over the days in the Everglades. I gotta go back. Somerville is a Mr. Chill Pill. 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 A team don't get so get some. I gotta bring it on the heart, on the Uber bike it. I get the Skyrex, poke out, on a bucket. And I lean on the bed at the ring steep. A gun girl, 777 on the back steep. On the steep road, on the book tree. On the deep, ramp on the rod now. Lady green ice, at the east side. Give me your cup of crop duster in a clean ice. Oh, Green Bay lady in the global impact. Green Bay lady on the global impact. Every day in the Everglades, Everglades in the Everglades, Everglades in the Everglades. Everglades in the Everglades, Everglades in the Everglades, Everglades in the Everglades, Everglades never faded. Never faded with the Everglades. Oh, baby, I'm like it on it, on Everglades. Never faded with the Everglades. Oh, baby, I'm like it on it, on Everglades. Never faded with the Everglades. Oh, baby, I'm like it on it, on Everglades. Never faded with the Everglades. Oh, baby, I'm like it on it, on Everglades. Bring it like a dog, hug a demon, Ramarada. I see my quicker, everybody wanna go to Bona. I'm a beast on the owl like a Rico Satana. I'm no lover, a dare on a Bacanora Pica. I'm not bringing like a dog, hug a demon, oh, Taka, I forgot to turn off the record button and it was open and up, open and up, open and up, now it's open up. Every day's never faded, I never lazy. a pay with a track and a do a dot. I'm gonna go back around and every back. Down you girl, num 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 num. Done 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 girl, num 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 num. We do Linda Covington, we did on the with on my sky. Oh, what is starting to run out, everybody do. Just me, Isada, gotta do. I do it every like I know, name available. I on the ball and I know mountain scalable. Gina back around and everybody hateable. Oh, and it takes me hard to get around the ball. I'll bring it down, now we going unacceptable. Have a good night, y'all. Couldn't leave without a little bit I'm looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse wrong. Virgo news, where are you? Only news I use. More Virgo news, more Virgo news. Where are you? Only news I use. More Virgo news. I'm looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse wrong. Looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse wrong. Virgo news, where are you? Only news I use. More Virgo news, more Virgo news. Where are you? Only news I use. More Virgo news. Thank you, Linda Covington. Really appreciate your support. New viewer regarding Ema. Thank you so much. Susan Salvage, I see you. I am literally the YouTuber that can see you at home on your computer touching the subscribe button. I just saw you. I was watching behind you. I actually was waiting. I've been doing all of this music from right outside your window. In fact, I have a whole DJ booth right outside your house. I was waiting for you to subscribe because really, what else is there for me to do? My whole goal is to get subscribers in life, right? Just kidding. And if that is how you look at subscribers, then you're never going to make it. Where apocalypse roams, looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams, looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams, looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams, looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo.